Please be seated. The court is now back in session. I hand over the floor to the prosecutor to resume his line of questioning. You may proceed.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Before going into the next two subjects I would like us to discuss, witness, I would like you to clarify some of what you said earlier. You said you first worked at Kampong Som, at Chem Chamrek, Takmau, and Tutumpung after the 17th of April 1975. During that period, can you confirm that you were indeed under the Ministry of Commerce and under the authority of Van Riet?
Thank you. Our task was under the supervision of the chief of the office, and Ta was the chief, and he had to report to Ministry of Commerce. She, all right.
Très bien. Alors je reviens.
Very well. Let us revisit the issue of the arrest of Chi and the vehicle you referred to earlier. Let me read the answer you gave the OCIJ investigators in document E3/363. In Khmer, it is on page 0023-6034. In French, it is in French and English. It is on page 5, and this is what you stated, and I quote, "I saw with my own eyes the arrest of Comrade Chia, secretary of the grandfather Niem. At the time, the workers were at work, whereas Nirika, who was in the office, came to summon Chia. I saw Chia follow Rita up to pick up with a tarpaulin, and pointing the gun at her, she was pushed into the vehicle. The license plate of that vehicle was written with the word M870. 870 was red. In a quote. A while ago you said that you did not see a number plate. Can you tell us whether the vehicle that transported Chia had the number plate M870 or not?
The President, witness, please hold on. National Counsel for Mr. Kilsampon is on his feet. You may proceed, Counsel. Counsel Kongsamon. Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to object to this question for the reason that the question is leading. Mr. Prosecutor is leading this witness. To my record, the witness already testified at time marker at around 2:13. He said that he saw the license plate M870 in red, and then the prosecutor raised another issue concerning M870, which was a new issue, and he is leading this witness in question. Thank you.
Je vous avoue, Monsieur.
Mr. President, I must admit that I haven't understood the purpose of this objection. I am quoting what the witness said in the record of his interview to the OCIJ investigators. I am not leading or interpreting what the witness has said. The witness can tell us whether he saw that number plate or not. It's not an issue of interpretation here.
The International Counsel for Mr. Kyew Sampon, you may proceed.
Oui, merci, monsieur.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I also had an objection to make. Not the objection made by my national colleague. My objection is that the reminder made by the prosecutor is not correct. It's not honest, because we know the witness was interviewed twice by tribunal investigators. We also know that the first time he said he didn't see that number plate, and the second time he gave the information that the co-prosecutor is citing. So for purposes of completeness, in refreshing the witness's memory, they should refer him to the two interviews and the two interview records. And I must say that I didn't quite understand the objection of my learned colleague, because there may be an interpretation problem regarding what the witness said.
The President. This is my observation. The witness said concerning the trucks that came to pick up people from Tultumpung, he said that he saw this vehicle bearing the license plate M870. And in his previous record of interview, he made reference to M870. And the prosecutor failed to ask for the clarification on the differences on these two issues. This leads to the question, and I think that the statement in Khmer is clear.
Eh bien,
Very well, Mr. President. If he did say in Khmer that it was indeed number plate M870, I would go by that statement, but we didn't receive this part of the sentence in French, Mr. President. But I can proceed to another line of questioning. Witness, you stated earlier that Kyew Sampan went to Tultumpung to visit workshops in 1970. You also talked of arrests. Regarding the arrests at Tultumpung, did they take place before Kyew Sampan came, or some of the arrests occurred after he came? I just want you to situate those events in time.
Thank you. I am afraid I am a bit lost on this point. I need some time to think over it again. The arrest of Comrade Jir took place before the visit of Mr. Kyew Sampon.
très bien. Alors, une autre.
Very well. Another question for purposes of clarification. You stated that during Kyew Sampan's visit, Van Rith was present, and he lowered his head. I am not Khmer. Can you specify what you meant when you said that he lowered his head?
Thank you. According to my knowledge, the gesture of bowing head in front of somebody else was the show of respect for somebody more senior.
Merci. Alors j'en viens.
Thank you, then. Let us now talk about something else. Specifically, the meeting you said you attended with Khieu Samphan at the beginning of 1979. You talked about that meeting on several occasions. In your interview with the Cambodian Documentation Center in 2003, can you tell us who attended that meeting in early January 1979 and which was attended by Khieu Samphan, and where that meeting was held?
I apologize, I do not recall.
Je vais peut-être, puisqu'il me reste peu de temps, vous
I will try to refresh your memory in the little time I have left by reading out an extract of the interview with the DCCAM. The reference is IS 19.177. In English, it is on page 37 and page 38. And in Khmer, the ERN is 000 55 251. And again, this is a passage that I will read in English, Mr. President.
Et donc c'est ce que vous dites, Monsieur.
This is what you state during that interview witness, and I quote.
The 5th of January 79, foreigners were evacuated from Kampong Cham and were sent by boats to Kampong Som. I came to a meeting in the morning at Borei Kela. I saw Khieu Samphan with my own eyes. I was surprised when I heard him speaking like that. And a little further down, you speak about Khieu Samphan, and you say, Khieu Samphan said, even if there is fighting or bombarding in Akrai Ksat, we as squad team leaders, commanders of platoons and companies have to dig trenches and reinforce our forces. We cannot just run away from our stations. We cannot be discouraged. And a little further down, yes, at the stadium, only the heads of units or battalions were invited to the meetings. Regular people were not invited. The purpose of the meeting was to inform each of them about the situation. After that meeting, we attended another meeting at the ministry. The heads of the ministries were preparing to dig trenches. End of quote. Monsieur le témoin, confirmez-vous avoir...
Witness, do you confirm that you attended a meeting with Khieu Samphan at Borei Kela in early January 1979, shortly before the Vietnamese captured Phnom Penh?
Thank you. I try to follow your question. Indeed, Mr. Khieu Samphan convened a meeting, and then a day afterwards, Vietnam forces entered.
À part vous dire de...
apart from telling you to dig trenches, did Khieu Samphan talk about anything else to you? For instance, did he talk about a temporary retreat in the face of the advancing Vietnamese troops?
Mr. Khieu Samphan did advise us to dig trenches, and he wanted all of us to strengthen our spirit to fight back, and everyone should reinforce their forces.
Est-ce qu'à cette réunion, il y avait
Was it only members of the Ministry of Commerce who attended that meeting, or officials of other ministries and the military who attended it?
On this point, I apologize. I do not recollect the attendees of the meeting. I did not know where the attendee came from.
Monsieur le témoin, est-ce que vous...
Witness, do you know someone from the Ministry of Commerce who worked at Chem Chang Res called Wo Sweet?
Pardon, je vais mieux prononcer.
I did not pronounce it correctly. It is Rusoy, R-U-O-S, and S-U-Y. This is for the Khmer interpreters.
Not spelled there, but
No, I don't know this person.
Dernière question sur ce sujet.
Last question in this line of questioning. Did you hear Khieu Samphan talk about the enemies, internal or external enemies of the country at that occasion, on that occasion?
No, I do not recall him saying that because it has been quite a long time. I have forgotten most of it.
Merci.
Thank you. Last line of questioning, witness. Meetings or meeting with Ruon Chia. How many times did you personally attend events or study sessions at which Nguyen Chia was present? One time, twice, or more?
I do not recollect.
D'accord, mais est-ce que vous...
Very well. But do you recall seeing him at major events during the Democratic Kampuchea era?
No, I never met him.
Merci, monsieur le témoin.
Thank you, witness. I have no further questions for you, and I thank you for accepting to come to bring the truth to light. Thank you, Mr. President.
The President, thank you. Next, I hand over the floor to the lead co-lawyer for the civil party to put the question to the witness. You may proceed. Council Ping-ong. Thank you, Mr. President. Madam Chet Van Lee will be the delegated lawyer to put the question to the witness, and Madam Martino will also be putting question to the witness. The President, yes, you may proceed. Council Chet Van Lee. Thank you, Mr. President. My respect to Mr. President, Your Honors, and everyone in and around the courtroom. My name is Chet Van Lee. I am the lawyer for the civil party. Good afternoon, Mr. Witness. Just now you have testified in court by responding to several lines of questioning by the prosecutor, and I have some additional questions to put to you so that you can shed light for the chamber. I would like to refer to document E3/472 and E3/363, which were the written of records of interview, and document IS 19.177 by the DC Cam. Based on these documents, the prosecutor have already given to you, and I would like to ask for clarification on a few points relating to the event that you witnessed or you experienced by yourself during the period of the Democratic Cambodia. You told the co-prosecutor earlier on that you used to work in Kampong Saum, so I would like to ask you to expand on that. What year was it when you were sent to work in Kampong Saum? Response. From July 1975 until July 1976. It was a 1 year period, and I was transferred back to Phnom Penh. Question. Over there, you work as a worker, as a laborer. You carry goods from the ships. You unloaded or uploaded goods to the ship. What event did you encounter when you were working over there? Response. When I was working as a laborer in Kampong Saum port, I actually work at the dry port. It was some 7 kilometers away from the seaport, and they used truck to carry to carry goods. And the early days we work in the ship, but later on those who were sent from the southwest zone were taken away, so we had to move in. So the southwest group were transferred to work in the ship, and for us from the north zone, we were transferred to work in the dry port, and our work was mainly carrying goods. Question. At the dry port over there, what did you witness? For example, the disappearance of workers, the deaths of workers, your co-workers over there. The President, please hold on. Make sure that you see the red light on your mic. Response. My apology, Mr. President. I failed to observe it. When I was working at that warehouse, for the sake of clarity, when I first got there, it was about for the first month when one of the ship docked at the pier over there, and one day there was an aerial bombardment in that area. It did not hit the ship, but it destroyed the warehouse. This warehouse was burned down. It was all on fire. The American air raid bombarded on that warehouse, and it was completely destroyed. Tons of goods were destroyed. Question. In that bombardment incident you described, were there any casualty, and how destructive was this bombardment? Could you please elaborate further? Response. When I first got there, I was not assigned a specific task. Actually, that warehouse was empty. Actually, only the warehouse were destroyed. As for the goods, it was still in the ship. It was not actually unloaded and stored at that warehouse yet. Question. In your record of interview, IS 19.177, EAN in Khmer 0055, English EAN 006790705 and 207. It is not available in French. You said when you got to an alarm, you got lost over there, and then you met a lady who was selling in foreigner counter. At that time, they were not very open when they talked to you. So I would like to ask you to clarify the place where you met the lady. You said that you met in a foreigner market. What did they sell over there? Was it a marketplace or was it any particular place? Can you enlighten it? Response. I failed to clarify on this point. I apologize to the court if I miss out any points of detail because it has been so many years. When we were transferred back from Kampong Saum, we were not sent directly to Trang Chumreh. We stayed temporarily at an Alam Pagoda. We had to prepare our staff in Sa Thmai, and then on the way back to an alarm from Sa Thmai, we got lost. I did not know where I should be staying, so I went back and forth. That was the situation back then.
Question. Can you tell us about the market, the secret market? What kind of market was it? Or was it a market meant only for foreigners? Answer. I actually went to ask for a girl who was a seller there, and she told me that we could not get in through there because it was a secret place selling food or other things for foreigners. Question. Can you tell us about the purchase by foreigners? Was currency used at the time? Answer. I could not know about that. I only heard what I was told by the woman because I did not go in through there. Question. When you were at Totampong Pagoda and you stated before this chamber that you worked for a while in the Totampong Pagoda, and in document E3/472, EN in Khmer is 00170627, and in English 0020501, and in French 00205 035, you stated that Tarat was in charge of the Commerce Department, and he ordered for the destruction of the statue in the Totampong Pagoda. My question to you is why was order made for the destruction of the Buddha statues, and what happens to the monks there? Answer. At that time, there was no monks at all throughout the regime, and Buddha statues at all the pagodas were ordered to be destroyed. They were all destroyed. There was a temple there, and then they would say that there is no need to use a labor force to destroy the temple. They would use some mines in order to destroy the temple, and then the remnants from the temple would be used for road construction. There was no monks at all at the time. Question. You also stated to the prosecutor that all the goods and equipment that you prepared and you were screening the cotton product. Where did you store the cotton product? Did they build store or warehouses around the pagoda area? Answer. Regarding the cotton seeds that needs to be processed through the machine in order to produce the bales of cotton, and there were 3 kinds of cottons, and for the cotton product they would be placed into big sacks, and then they would be sent to Tak Mau. In Tak Mau, there was a machine that would compress the cotton and make them into ready product for export. Question. You stated before the court as well that you made Khieu Samphan, who came to inspect the screening of cotton product for export. That was the first time that you met him. Did you meet him at any other location subsequently? Answer. When he came, he did not stay there for long. He kept walking, and Wanderer was following him behind. That was the first time, and I met him the second time, as I stated earlier. Question. What about the fifth? In 1979, did you see Khieu Samphan on the armored vehicle fleeing Phnom Penh? Answer. No, I did not. I did not know when he fled or from which direction he fled. Question. You also stated before this court that you saw a number of times of the arrest, namely at Kampong Saum and in the Tudampung Pagoda. Can you tell us who issued orders for the arrest? And you also said you saw the vehicle with the plate of M70 or M870 with the seal unclear. Can you tell us where those vehicles came from? Answer. I think there is a mistake in the recording of the statement. I never knew about the M870. I only knew from my glance at the plate number that is M70. And I did not know where the vehicle came from. Thank you. Due to my limited time, I will ask only one or two more questions. Question: besides Koi Troon that you met and who was a Khmer Rouge leader, did you meet any other Khmer Rouge leaders? Answer: as for Koi Troon, allow me to clarify, I only heard of his name. I never saw him in person. I heard of his name during the meeting, that he was Koi Troon alias Thuch, and he was the chief of the Northern Zone, but I never saw him in person. Question: this is my last question. In your written record interview with DC Cam, that is IS 19.177, EN 0055269, and in English 00679695. You state that while you were in Phnom Penh, you came for meetings and you knew Son Sen was from the Defense Ministry, Nguyen Chi from the National Assembly, Inseri from the Foreign Affairs, Chum Chuen from the Health Ministry, and Hu Nam from the Propaganda, and John was with Hu Nam and Khieu Samphan. Can you tell us where the meeting was held and who actually participated in that meeting? Answer: the meetings that was held on the 10th, the 20th, and the 30th of each month was held in the ministry, and it was chaired by Wan Rut, who was the chief of commerce, and it was held near to Tumpung area. It was a general meeting for the whole ministry, and all the laborers had to attend that meeting. Question: what were the usual contents of that meeting? Answer: I cannot recall all the contents, however there were instructions and the reasons from the leadership that regarding their angst against the previous regime, but I cannot recall all the details of the content. Question: for each meeting, did they raise the political party lines or the enemy situation or the purchase of the internal and external rank enemy? Answer: as I stated from the outset, they raised the same issues. If a spoon is broken, it means that there is an enemy infiltrated within, and that we have to research out that enemy, and we have to work for the party so that the revolution can move forward. They talked much more than that, but I cannot recall. And that was the theme of their propaganda. And that we did not engage in the actual rice field, but we have sufficient food to eat. So for those who actually worked in the rice field would have more, and that made us happy to hear it. But in fact, the situation was in the opposite, and all the relatives suffered. Question: was that kind of meeting held frequently? How many times per month? Answer: as I stated already, there were 3 meetings that was held each month. That was a general meeting that everybody had to attend 3 times per month. Question regarding this point: who actually participated in the meeting? President, witness, please wait until the microphone is activated. Witness, you keep raising the same question. I already told about that. The meeting was held, and those who was the chief of the office or the departments would attend a meeting together with the laborers. Thank you for your testimony for this court, and due to the time limit, I now conclude my question.
Bonjour, Monsieur le Président.
Good afternoon, Mr. President. Good afternoon, Your Honours, all parties, and to you, sir. I'm going to ask you a few short questions. You have answered a great many this afternoon, and I'm looking for matters of detail, really. So, first, you were a soldier. Then you were transferred to Kampong Som, and you became a labourer. Did you contest that transfer? Perhaps I missed something here, but was there still a connection with the army when you were in Kampong Som and then when you came back to Phnom Penh?
Allow me to clarify. In short, after the liberation in 1975, and when I returned to Kampong Som, I was no longer a soldier. I had nothing to do with the military, and I became solely a laborer.
Merci de cette précision.
Thank you for helping me with that. Perhaps I hadn't been following, but it's an important point. When you were in Kampong Som, you have told us repeatedly that you were loading and unloading vessels. Can you tell us which products were being exported? In other words, products manufactured in Cambodia and which were sent off for export. Do you have an idea of what products you were loading onto these boats for export?
For exports, there would be husk rice and other equipments, as I stated earlier. For example, spade, sprayed, all kinds of insecticide, and the vehicle, as I stated earlier, that's for import rather. But for export, when I was there, what I saw and what I carried onto the train or onto a ship, including the rubber, raw rubber, cotton product, And number one has rice and beans. They were for export. But of course we did not know the actual price of those products as there was no currency used in the regime.
Did you ever transport animals, put them in the boats?
Laborers were used for carrying goods, and of course there were also machines that would be used to lift those goods. For rubber, raw rubber, the crab rubber in a weight of 30, 40 or 50 kilos maximum, then we would carry it on our shoulder and then we would load it onto the ship.
Another question. When you were transferred back to Phnom Penh from Kampong Som, did you get any precise explanation of why you and a few other people were being sent to Phnom Penh?
I did not know the reason, but our group was split into two because there were about 500 or 600 of us in the battalion, and so 200 of us out of the battalion was sent. I did not know the reason. Maybe they needed a laborer to do so.
So you were never told the reason. Once you got to Phnom Penh, as you told us in great detail, you went from place to place, and in particular at kilometer 6 and Tumpu. Apart from the soldiers in your battalion, were there other labourers who were working in these factories or warehouses?
I only knew about the Ministry of Commerce, but there were also laborers who worked overseas, but I only knew about what happened within my section.
In the course of your work as a labourer, did you ever come across children who were working?
At my workplace in Totumpung or other workplaces where I worked, there were no children staying around. Children would be placed into a child care center elsewhere where we would not know. Only adults were within our work group.
I believe at some stage you said that there were some boys of 12 or 13, but I cannot quite find the reference at the moment. It, I think, is in document 19177, pages 23, 24 in English, and in Khmer 00055238 and 239. And here you say that there were 12 and 13-year-olds, and you were asked if they were obliged to work, and you say they were forced to work like the adults. I don't know if this was in Phnom Penh or in Kampong Som. It's not very clear in your response, but it would appear from what you say that you did see children working.
The 12 to 13 year children, there were a group of these children while I worked at Khmer, and they were the children of the former workers, that is the workers of the former colonial regime, because at that time the mothers were placed in a separate group and the children were used at that time. And for us, the new laborers, we did not know the organization of the existing workforce in that cotton factory.
Merci.
Thank you. It appears, Mr. Witness, that around May or June 1976 you got married. Could you elaborate on that? Was it a marriage to which you freely consented, or was the choice made by Angkar?
President, witness, please wait. Counsel Victor Coupe, you may proceed.
Thank you, President. Maybe my learned friend on the other side could explain why this question on his marriage falls within the scope of this present trial. It's not about communication, it's not about structure, it's not about forced transfer, it's not about rule portray. May be about forced marriage, I don't know, but it's certainly not within the realm of this present trial.
Mr. President, with your leave, I shall answer. Forced marriages is part of the 5 policies. It's a subsidiary issue, which is important. Mr. Zimhao has talked about this. I am asking him the question, and I think that he can perfectly well respond. It's the kind of question that has been put to a number of witnesses and which falls within the framework of the policies that are covered in this trial.
President, witness, you are instructed not to respond to the last question put to you by the assigned lawyer for civil parties, because that question is not related to the facts being put before us regarding case 002/01.
A final question to the witness. You told us this afternoon, I believe, that you had to feign to have seen nothing. And You and no doubt others among your co-workers were always afraid of being arrested. Can you explain what prevented you from seeing things, why you didn't want to see things, and who you were afraid of? What was the reason for the fear?
President, witness, please wait. Counsel for Kiew Sampon, you may proceed. Kung Samon, thank you, Mr. President. From what I heard in a question by the assigned counsel for civil parties, it seems that she is referencing to a document that is placed before this court. If there is the case, please specify the ID of that document. Thank you.
Non, je ne fais pas référence.
No, I'm not referring to a document. Mr. Simhao, and I can't give you the references, but you heard him say we had to pretend to see nothing. This is what I noted down, which begs another question. If you had to pretend to see absolutely nothing, then what were you afraid of in seeing? That's really my question.
President, witness, you are now instructed to respond to the question put to you by the assigned lawyer for civil parties. Witness. The reason that we did not dare to ask, or that we pretended to be blind, is that in that regime we could not make any protest, and the arrests were made subsequently and continuously, and that's what happened. And of course we were always afraid.
Thank you, Mr. Simhao. I have no further questions to put to you, and thank you, Mr. President.
President, thank you, and thank you, witness. The time is appropriate for the adjournment, and before we adjourn, we would like to inform parties to the proceeding that for the following proceedings, and the proceeding for tomorrow has rescheduled a little bit. In the scheduling that we notified the parties that the TMM is scheduled for the afternoon, tomorrow afternoon. However, as this witness continues to testify, and that the duty counsel cannot participate in a tomorrow morning session, then the hearing of the testimony of this witness will be for the afternoon session. And for that reason, the TMM will be shifted to the morning session. And the continued hearing of the testimony of this witness will be started at 1:30. And as for the hearing of the remaining witnesses, will be shifted accordingly. That is for the two witnesses, and we plan to hear their testimonies next week. As for TCW 384, it's to be on Monday, and then the 801 is on the subsequent day. And we like to inquire with the accused for TMM tomorrow morning whether the accused wish to participate, as they have the choice of either to participate or not. Kyusampon, Mr. President, I would like to seek your leave to rest during this time. President, thank you. Thank you for your confirmation, and we will decide so. What about the counsel for Nuon Chea?
Maybe get back to this tomorrow morning early, because we don't know if he wants to participate tomorrow or not. Maybe he wants, I don't know.
President, we would like to get the confirmation now, because if he wishes to participate, then he will be brought in through the holding cell downstairs tomorrow morning.
He doesn't want.
President, thank you for your confirmation. The hearing today has come to an adjournment, and we will adjourn now, and we will resume tomorrow morning, that is Thursday. And for tomorrow morning session, we will have a trial management meeting, and for the afternoon session, we will continue to hear the testimony of these witnesses somehow, who will be questioned by the defense teams from the case upon defense teams first. This information is for all parties, the support staff, and the general public. Mr. Somehow, the hearing of your testimony has not yet concluded, and we will hear your testimony tomorrow once more, and you are therefore invited to return to this courtroom commencing at 1:30. Court officer, could you assist this witness in collaboration with Vitsu for his return to his residence and have him return to this courtroom for tomorrow afternoon at 1:30. And Mom Rati, the Duty Counsel, you are also invited to participate at the same time. Security guards are instructed to take the two accused Nuon Chea and Kitsampon back to the detention facility and have them return to the courtroom for tomorrow afternoon session at 1:30. And as usual, Nuon Chea shall be brought through the holding cell downstairs which is equipped with audio-visual means for him to follow the proceeding remotely. The court is now adjourned.